Wouldn't you know it, I get here to Charlotte. I'm supposed to be conning. It's convention time. It's Comic Convention Palooza time. And I'm sick. It's time for another episode of the Comic Bin Comic Book Podcast.
It's time for the Comic Bin Comic Book Podcast. The podcast you look forward to for all of your news and reviews of the best comic books hitting stands. Whether it's DC,
Batman, Wonder Woman,
Marvel,
Spider-Man,
Image,
Spawn, Saga,
Boom,
Once and Future, Power Rangers,
or whatever book or publisher you follow,
we cover them all here.
this is the place for you.
That's right, it's for everyone.
This is the Comic Bin Comic Book Podcast.
Let's get it.
Hey folks, welcome to another episode of the Comic Bin Comic Book Podcast. I am your host Theo, reporting in from Charlotte, North Carolina and HeroesCon 2025 at the Charlotte Convention Center. This is actually day 2 that I'm recording this, and we're going to do a quick recap of days 1 and 2. So as I mentioned in the pre-intro, a little bit under the weather, but I'm doing okay. I'm imagining this is just a little cold. I did test myself for COVID and flu, came up negative for both of those. So with that being said, I went on over to the convention center to take part in the events of yesterday and today. Didn't stay long for day 1 simply because I got there late. Again, not feeling well. I wanted to make sure I wasn't contagious with something like COVID or influenza. But I did make my way over there. Stopped at a few tables, spoke with some creators who I am familiar with and who are familiar with me, and just went and wanted to make sure that the layout is what I have been used to with going to HeroesCon. This is my second year there, second year covering the event, and yeah, the layout is pretty much the same, although for me this year, I ended up going in through a different entrance to get into the hall. The last time it was actually on the front end, but it looks like they're doing some construction, and they're doing a lot of construction around the convention center in the same block. So this year, it looks like they have everybody coming in from the back end on Tehran Street. But first day you saw from the short that I submitted on yesterday. Again, wasn't much for me to do again because of the fact that I arrived later than what I wanted to. But today I arrived earlier, got there about 11:30, not too long after the doors opened, and was able to take part in some of the panels that HeroesCon has to offer. And if there's one thing that I've always loved about HeroesCon, and if you've been following the podcast even before I moved over to YouTube, you know that one of the features that I love about HeroesCon is that it is almost specifically 100% about comic books. And that's not just from the show floor and the vendors, but also the panels. Every single panel on the schedule has something to do with comic books. And so for someone like me, if there are several panels going on and they're all on topics that you want to take part of, it can be a little bit of a conundrum trying to decide which one you want to go to. But I did partake in a few of the panels that they had today. I posted one about on Threads about the panel I sat in with Stephanie Williams, which for me was very interesting because it looked at comics and individuals with disabilities in comics, and not just from the character standpoint, but also from the creative standpoint. Creators who may have different types of disabilities, and for someone like me. I've been a type 1 diabetic since I was 9 years old. And so, that was an interesting topic, especially considering this week it was announced that Marvel will be introducing a new character, a new superhero who is type 1 diabetic. And so you can see the individual female has a insulin pump on her arm. So it was really interesting sitting in that panel and learned a lot more than what I expected, especially considering the different types of disabilities that were discussed. And when I say types, not necessarily, cancer versus diabetes versus scoliosis, but just an overarching explanation of the different types of disabilities and how all of these different types can fit into a particular bucket. But it was a very interesting conversation between Stephanie and the other individual who sat on the panel, who's a trained social worker, but was able to walk around, speak again with more creators. I was finally able to catch up with Tommy Lee Edwards from Gotcha Man's fame, doing Only One Earth, and was able to talk to him for a good bit. Some of the folks on Reddit had pointed out something in one of the issues of Only One Earth that I asked them about, and it was basically a panel where Joe and Ken were, jawing at each other as always, but Joe called Dr. Nambu Dr. Nimbu, and so we weren't sure if that was Joe being the snide, smart-ass Joe, or if that was actually an editorial faux pas, something that was missed. And Tommy Lee Edwards confirmed that, yeah, that was definitely a miss that slipped past editorial. So no, it happens in comics from time to time. Actually, more often than not, we'll see some of these editorial faux pas, a little slip here and there that gets through. But had a good time talking to him. He did confirm to me that he has finished all of the script for his Genpei one shot that'll be coming out soon. It's now in the hands of the artist, and we'll see when they announce a release date of that one shot. He also mentioned that there are more one shots coming in the world of Gotcha Man, so it'll be interesting to see how all of that plays out. I don't know if I want to reveal any of the other stuff that we talked about, particularly as it pertains to Gotcha Man and that relationship with Tatsunoko, but I can say that it's all good news and it's continuing to be strong. I mean, we already know we have the Speed Racer series that is coming out. They've already formally announced the miniseries for Racer X, so I'm excited and just pleased with everything with regards to this partnership between Mad Cave Studios and Tatsunoko Productions, with a bunch of their IPs that they are allowing Mad Cave to take the reins on and then produce products for us to read and take part in. Went and then I actually had a quick conversation with Daniel Warren Johnson as well. He and I are going to probably speak tomorrow regarding possibly getting him to come on the show. I would like to do it before his final issue on Transformers, but that's all going to depend on his schedule with regards to his availability for that. I also had the opportunity to speak with Tim Seeley as well as Dennis Cowan. They've all agreed, if the schedule allows, that they'll be coming on the show as well. So always a good time, talking to creators, especially those that I have always had a wonderful relationship with. And always having conversations and able to talk to and get on the show and just talk about all things comics. But the highlight of the day, of course, for me is visiting all of the vendor tables. And again, the one thing about HeroesCon is that it is a heaven and a haven if you are a lover of comic books. I mean, you go to any other convention, a Fan Expo or GalaxyCon or San Diego Comic-Con, you will see a good mixture of specialties from the particular vendors. And in some instances, the other areas of pop culture will outnumber the number of comic book vendors that are at the event. That is not the case at HeroesCon. HeroesCon, again, is heavily influenced with the comic book industry. Again, the people that put it on every year is a local comic shop. Heroes aren't hard to find out of Charlotte, but man, the number of vendors that are at HeroesCon, you make sure you bring some cash. You had that credit card ready, because you could spend a good bit if there are items that you are looking for. I have several gaps in my collection that I've been working to fill since I lost them to Katrina back in 2005. And HeroesCon is probably the one place where I am pretty able to find a good bit of those, simply because of the number of vendors that are there every year. So stopped at a good bit of tables, picked up a good bit of floppies, both in the Batman line. I've been trying to replenish and get that collection back on track. Before Katrina, I had everything from 250 to current. It'll be a lot harder for me to get that back. I am right now at 375 to current. 375. However, I am going to be heading back to the convention hall on tomorrow to see if I can get some more. But again, as I get to those lower numbers, those are, of course, more expensive. So it'll be a little bit harder for me to fill those numbers up. But I also picked up a few issues of the John Byrne Sensational She-Hulk run. I have a few more to close that out, and I am closer to getting that done. The good thing is that the ones that are the most expensive ones have already been taken care of, and of course with that run, it is the jump rope cover issue as well as the Demi Moore homage issue where she's standing there covering herself up. But those are already taken care of, so the remaining issues that I need to get from that run are just some regular issues. And so I'm hoping maybe I can finally get that completed on tomorrow. Or there again are a good bit more of tables that I will be stopping at. Yeah, but that is about it with regards to day one and day two of HeroesCon. Again, absolutely love it. Just the fact that everything is just so centered on the comic book industry. And yeah, I'll be heading back tomorrow. I have a late flight back to New Orleans, home to New Orleans. And so that will allow me time to go and partake in more of the festivities. The last time that I came to Charlotte, I wasn't able to do that, but I'll be able to do that this time around on tomorrow. So I'll be heading on over to the convention center for day 3 to see a few panels there and see if I can pick up some more comics. So again, if you are watching this and you are in the Charlotte area, or you're in good driving distance to get to Charlotte and you've never taken part of HeroesCon, tickets are still on sale for the last day, for Sunday. So yeah, head on over and take part in it. And I will be there. I still have a few more lanyards to give away. So, but that is going to do it for this quick recap of days 1 and 2 of HeroesCon 2025 here at the Comic Bin Comic Book Podcast. Next one will be a final recap of the event. And so I'll be doing that, probably posting it on Monday because I have a late flight back to New Orleans. So at the earliest it'll be sometime Monday, or at the latest on Tuesday, that I will post that final episode for HeroesCon. But until then, thank you all for watching or listening in if you're doing audio, and I will see you in the next episode. But as always, until next time, keep reading those comics. That is going to do it for this episode of the Comic Bin Comic Book Podcast. I'd like to thank you all for your continued support of the program. The Comic Bin Podcast, as well as the Comic Book Spot, are a part of the Comic Book Source family of sites and media. You can follow the podcast on Twitter X at comic_bin, or my personal account at BatmanFan_4life. You can also find us on Facebook, Instagram, Blue Sky, and Threads. We're all over social media. You can also follow our sister site over at thebatmanuniverse.net for all of your news and reviews in the world of Batman. Tune in next time as we give you more in the world of comic books. Again, we truly appreciate your support. But until we meet again next time, keep reading those comics.